Good. All right, welcome everyone. Meeting is now in session. Let's all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Brian, could you do roll call?
Andy Buckman.
Present.
Amber Fletcher.
Present.
Kelly Campbell.
Here.
Broken Barnhart.
Here.
Mike Meadows. Here. And Bink is out.
All right, so Bink Garbett is not out tonight. He did contact me to let me know he was going to be out of town a couple of weeks ago. I would entertain a motion if there's one to excuse him from council. Mike has made the motion. Kelly Campbell has seconded that motion. Roll call, Brian.
Campbell.
Yes.
Fletcher.
Yes.
Mays.
Yeah.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Rocky.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right. We have quite a few members here for a special presentation tonight, so I think that we are going to jump right into that. So I know we have a full room with the soccer team here. So Kelly, do you want to start us off? This was, I know you were really wanting to get this done. So
All right. My name's Kelly Campbell. Glad you guys come out. I'll give you a little bit of background. Back in 2019, my wife coached a boys kicker team that won state. And Nancy Montgomery was on council then, reached out to me and asked if we'd have the kids all come up and kind of do a recognition for the village. And it was a pretty awesome thing for the kids. So that same time, there was a 17 girls team that won also. So we all kind of come in and did that. And it was something that I wanted to kind of carry on tradition. So I went up to the park and built kind of like a little thing out some 4x4s and hung some signs up. And then this winter I had reached out to Jesse Johnson. I'd heard that you guys won state, and I want you guys to know it's a pretty awesome thing. So we're going to bring you in and recognize you and kind of keep the tradition going. And last Monday I went out and I hung your guys' sign up. So feel free to stop in and check it out. But I'll kick it over to the mayor. Thank you guys for showing up.
yes, I would echo those comments. Congratulations. It's pretty awesome to have state champs in the room. So thank you guys. I look forward to what you guys are going to do in the future at such a young age and already state champs. What's next, right? So Kelly, would you join me on the floor?
Sure.
And could you get the coaches and the soccer players up front, if possible?
We'll wait.
What,
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you.
We'll check.
We'll make some room here. We'll make some room.
Coaches, you want to step on this side real quick?
And do you want to go through and introduce your team here?
They can introduce themselves. I'm Jesse. Coming in.
And we have Kate, Drew, Casey, Jace. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys.
We're missing the two twins, they was running behind.
Okay, all right.
I'll read this first. Just to turn it slightly. All right. All right. So what we did is what we've done for the other two teams as well. We put together a proclamation for the team to recognize the importance of what you guys have accomplished. So I'm going to read through this, and then we have some certificates for everyone. So the proclamation reads, whereas soccer is one of the world's most notable team sports, and whereas sports teams from Georgetown have excelled many, many times in various sports in displaying their expertise on the court and on the field. And whereas the knowledge that one must possess to have success is learned from an early age with the aid of parents, teammates, and coaches, such as Jesse Johnson and Matthew McJoint Griffith. 9 young men, Pax Burrows, Caden Johnson, Kason King, Oakley McJoint Griffith, Jace McKibben, Trip Miranda, Isaiah Slack, Isaac Slack, and Tobias Wallace have exemplified the meaning of excellence by securing the title of state champions in the 2023 Say Soccer Championship. Also known as the Boys Passers, they achieved this great accomplishment through their commitment to dedication, strong work ethic, and desire. Not to mention practice, right? Lots of practice. Whereas the hard work and desire that these young men displayed on the soccer field served them well, it will also serve them well by teaching them the value of the same work aspect in their classroom studies and help show a path to becoming young, confident adults. Whereas these traits will continue to be a part of their continuing learning adventure throughout life, this very special moment in time will forever be remembered by all. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the mayor of the village of Georgetown, Ohio, that the Boys Passers are recognized and congratulated for winning the 2023 Say Soccer State Championship, and will be serving as role models for other teams in their district, both here and other communities as well. And it directs this proclamation to be given to the Boys Passers and their coaches for their accomplishment and the wish for continued success. Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
All right, so that's yours, Coach. Good job.
Appreciate it, man.
You guys want to stay up here and get a picture with all your information?
Daddy.
Now, I'm not for sure of the names here. Trip, where we at? Point up, put that in your left hand, shake my right hand. Caden Johnson. That's it? Hey, congratulations. All right, here we go. Oh. Congratulations. Slide boys aren't here.
Oh, they just walked in.
Hey, you get it?
Come on up, guys.
Right down there.
There you go, guys.
Caden Payne. Congratulations. Isaac. Congratulations. And that. Congratulations. Pax. Congratulations. Now, who we got left here? Tobias. Congratulations.
Sure. Scooch back over in the middle there, I reckon.
Sure.
We'll squeeze in the middle best can.
Congratulations, guys.
Guys, appreciate it very much.
Good job.
Congratulations.
That's cool.
All right. Now we're back to the normal crowd. So, all right, guys, let's continue on. We do have another special presentation on our agenda, and I am going to turn that over to our Assistant Chief, Sean Enlow. Grab a mic, too.
Always get weird. I don't know who to address. So. Everybody sitting over here now. So. Camera. All right. Want to address something that happened on March 10th, 2024. And I'm just going to read directly from some of this report here. On this night, around the hours of 1944, about 7:44 p.m., our units Sergeant Jesse Green, and his partner, Patrolman Kyle Luther, who's back there, were advised by dispatch that a pursuit was heading towards our village, a high-speed pursuit out of Pierce Township. During those transmissions, we had found that vehicle that they were pursuing was a stolen truck out of Cincinnati. The information that they received on that night is this vehicle was speeding in excess of 100 miles an hour. At that point, Jesse Green decided to go outside of the village and set up a perimeter to deploy some spike strips before the vehicle could hit into the village. During that time, the other officer, Luther, he set up a perimeter there at the edge of the village in case the vehicle was able to maintain after the spike strip deployment. At 2001 hours, the deputies that were involved in the pursuit, Deputy Wright, informed dispatch that he was currently behind the vehicle. And they were at 125 in Sodom Road. Speeds were still at 100 miles per hour plus, running through traffic lights. At that point, Jesse Green, he advised that he had set up the spike strips at his location and he was ready. At that time, the pursuit started heading towards Georgetown at that high rate. Jesse said that he could hear the loud screaming noise from the tires and seen the black Toyota Tacoma at a high rate of speed. At that time, Deputy Wright informed over the radio that they were directly behind the truck as the vehicle approached his location. At that time, the truck proceeded past his location, striking the spike strips and deflating the right front tire. At that point, he collected his spike strips. The car continued into Georgetown at a slower rate of speed, still a high rate of speed. And this was approximately in between 7:45 and 8 p.m. So if you could imagine Georgetown at that time, this vehicle sped past my gym on video, probably 60, 70 miles an hour, which was still a lot slower than the original 100 miles an hour. So you know what Georgetown looks like at that time. At that point, the vehicle proceeded into Georgetown, and that's when Patrolman Luther got behind the vehicle, and they chased it through the center of town until the vehicle was disabled completely in front of McIntosh Trucking. At that point, the guy bailed out on foot. Kyle Luther and the deputies were able to safely apprehend him after a short foot chase. The cool thing about that is the cool, good and bad, spike strips are inherently dangerous, and we know this, and they've costed lives of officers. But at that time, we hope that our training and more so common sense kicks in and helps us prevail. And on this night, it did. And the direct result of what Jesse Green did was stop the pursuit. And not only stopped it, it did slow it down, because at the end of the day, we want to assist the deputies. But the main thing is we want to protect the life and property of the village of Georgetown and the people in the village of Georgetown. So it was a really good decision for units to set up outside the village instead of in the village to try to slow that vehicle down. And that's what he did. So I'm proud of what he did, and I'm proud of the decision he made, not based on his training and his experience. So this is a letter of commendation. I'm going to just read this to you real quick. And it says, Sergeant Jesse Green, I'm writing to commend you for his outstanding performance during a recent incident involving a pursuit and a suspect in a stolen vehicle originated in Pierce Township. On March 10th, 2024, Sergeant Green demonstrated exceptional courage, quick thinking, and professionalism by deploying spike strips to safely stop the fleeing vehicle. This action not only effectively neutralized the threat, but also minimized the risk to both law enforcement officers and the public. By putting his safety on the line, he was able to successfully deploy spike strips, slowing the vehicle's speed before it entered the village by deflating the right front tire. This also caused the vehicle to be disabled a short period of time later and allowed other responding units to safely apprehend the suspect as he fled on foot. This incident underscores the importance of equipping our officers with the best available tools and equipment. Sergeant Green's skillful use of spike strips highlighted the critical need for proper training and resources to ensure the safety and effectiveness of our law enforcement personnel. In an environment where split-second decisions can have life-altering consequences, Sergeant Green's actions exemplify his dedication to duty and commitment to protecting the community. His courage and professionalism align with the pinnacle of law enforcement standards and the expectations that I require of the Georgetown Police Department. Please accept this letter as a formal commendation for Sergeant Green's exceptional service and contributions to public safety, particularly in high-risk situations. Picture.
You guys, you stand up, stand up. You signed it.
So along with this one will go in his personnel file, one will go with him, and he'll actually get an actual pin that will go on his uniform that will show that he successfully spike stripped a vehicle. So, thank you guys for that.
Jesse, congratulations and thank you. That's, as Sean said, I would echo too as well. That's a fairly risky thing to be doing, and it worked out certainly, and you're still here and all is good. So we appreciate all that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Shoot, shot.
All right. Here we are again. All right, so let's go ahead with, there is actually one more presentation on here. It's more so an appointment. So coming into this role as the mayor, we had some vacancies on a couple of our really important committees around the zoning piece of the puzzle there. So I have appointments to make tonight. Joe, do I just make those recommendations and then we need to, how does that work?
You mean just council have to approve them?
Yes.
I have to check that for you.
Okay, we can come back to that. How about that?
You want to do public comment?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's go ahead with public comment. So Jan? Nothing? All right, thank you. Delbert?
I'm gonna listen tonight.
Okay, all right. Well, Joe needs some additional time to look up something. You sure you don't have anything?
The camera's taking pictures of me sitting next to her.
There might be. There might be. Definitely. All right, Joe's looking that up. I believe. Guys, while he's looking that up, I'll go ahead and let you know what my recommendations are, and then Joe can tell us how to proceed. So for the Zoning Board of Appeals, we had one vacancy on that. The Appeals Board is what hears when somebody comes in and they have a variance that they would like to get granted through to zoning. You take it to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and then it's a team of 5 people, and that team decides if that's going to get granted or not. Okay, so we had one vacancy, and for that spot, I am recommending Daryl Rocky to be on that, so the Zoning Board of Appeals. And then for the Planning Commission, we have 3 vacancies. That board is the Zoning Commission or Planning Commission, if you will. Basically, they oversee the code of the zoning code itself, which I can tell you is fairly outdated and needs some addressing over the next couple of years. So I hope this committee is pretty busy as we move forward, because there's a lot of gaps in the zoning code that need to be addressed. But for the zoning planning commission, whatever you would like to call it, there are 3 vacancies and 1 council member that needs to be appointed on that too as well. For the 3 vacancies, I would be appointing or recommending Jeremy Jones, Molly Ellis, and Jeremy Varner to those 3 vacancies. Additionally, we have 1 candidate from council, and I would entertain if there's somebody that has a strong desire to be on that. I will take that. I know we all serve on a lot of committees, but I do need 1 person from council to be on the zoning commission. Is there any strong desire before I have to appoint somebody? It's just 1 more committee.
How often do they meet?
Well, this one's, honestly, previously they really did not meet, but I could foresee, and I know Mike Click is really wanting to get some changes done to the zoning ordinance itself. I could see that meeting a few times a year.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm on the Board of Appeals, I think, or I was.
Yes, and you still are.
Okay. Well, I just didn't know if I would volunteer, but I don't know if I can be on both. I don't know how that works.
I would like to see different representation, if you will. I think that would
Better.
be better. Any desire?
I'll volunteer.
Amber? Okay. All right. So what did you find, Joe? Or are you still
So the
looking?
zoning, first is the zoning and planning commission, right? The planning commission is first?
I'll do either one, whichever one you've.
Let me go on. Let's do a Board of Zoning Appeals. It says the mayor, with the concurrence of council, shall appoint a village Board of Zoning Appeals of 5 members So you make the recommendation, they approve on BZA.
Okay. And that's, okay, Board of Appeals, right? Okay, so back to the Board of Appeals. There's only one vacancy on that board, and for that one, I would recommend Daryl Rocky. So with that recommendation, we would have to go ahead and approve that or have some discussion around that.
Or is he in the village?
Yes, free soil.
I don't know
Yes, these, again, these people do have to be within the village limits.
We'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Mike has made the motion. Is there a second? With Andy seconding those. Brian, roll call?
Campbell.
Yes.
Fletcher.
Yes.
Mays.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Bucky.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, and then, are you still working on the other one?
I'm sure there's anyone that's been a planning commission. Zoning commission planning.
It's the same.
Same?
Yeah, it's planning, I read through it myself
Got
too.
I would
The planning commission is the same as the zoning.
Got it.
It just refers to it as planning,
what I said.
same thing. Okay.
So, 5 members. Sorry. Here it is. So the village zoning commission consists of 5 members. It consists of the mayor,
Mhm.
then 1 member of village council, which you've appointed, and then 3 citizens to be appointed by the mayor. Doesn't say it needs their concurrence.
Do we need to vote on Amber, or is that,
As long as council agrees, it's fine.
so?
Council decides that.
Amber?
Mhm.
So we do have to vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we'll back up to the planning commission, which is also the zoning commission. So Amber has signified that she'd be interested in being on that committee. Mike has made the motion to approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Andy Baki. Brian, again, roll call.
Campbell.
Yeah.
Fletcher.
Am I supposed to put?
Mays.
Okay.
Yes. Barnhart.
Yes.
Bucky.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. And then the 3 appointments do not need to be voted on. So again, those 3 appointments are Jeremy Jones, Molly Ellis, and Jeremy Varner. So they will be on the planning commission.
Question on that. Did you put that out to where, or is that just what you thought? Just out of curiosity.
Just what I thought, and
Okay.
reaching out to
That's cool.
people and trying to find some new participants within our village. We seem to have the same people that are serving on, and we appreciate them, but serving on committees. And so I just wanted to make sure that we kind of mixed things up a little bit and got some additional participation. All right, 1 second, guys. Okay. All right, so moving along, let's move on down to general business. First there, under item A, is the approval of the February 22nd regular session of council meeting minutes. Take a look at that. That's on page 1. And go ahead.
Did you, it says in here, you said that I asked about $50,000 payment to the Village of Georgetown and it was going to be followed up. Did you ever get a chance to look at that? Or?
That was that the Rumpke one?
No, it was a check paid to Georgetown by Georgetown. It was odd. It was paid to ourselves by ourselves, as I recall, but.
Is that something that you can have somebody follow up with Mike tomorrow?
Yeah, I can ask Greg.
Okay. Greg will follow up with you on that, Mike. Outside of that, any discussion on those regular session meeting minutes from page 1? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Move.
By Kelly Campbell, is there a second?
Yes.
By Mike Mays. Brian, roll call.
Campbell.
Yes.
Fletcher. Mays.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Bucky.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, item B, February 22nd, the Utility Committee meeting minutes, page 4. If anybody from that committee would like to speak or share about your committee, you're more than welcome to. Otherwise, once finished, I would entertain a motion to approve. Oh, nope. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Thank you. We do not need a motion to approve. Is there any discussion on that from the February 22nd meeting? If not, flip over to page 5. There's also the Utility Committee meeting from February 29th. Any discussion on that?
Yes.
Sure.
We was talking in that, the telemetry system, we was discussing bringing that to council to see about going ahead and approving that. We lost a lot of water, and the amount of water we lost from that leak over at the fairgrounds was equivalent to very easily pay for that. Is that something that we can discuss, or we need to?
I can give you some input on that. It's up to council what you want to do, but we do have the telemetry figured in to the tower project. That's part of the application for that. So if council wants, pardon?
So not yet then, or?
Well, it's been 3 years. I mean, it needs to be done, but we would be spending money out of our own budget that we would be getting, from the EPA, in all honesty, if we
Or
can.
getting that for sure then?
Yeah. Yeah, it's already been approved. We're just actually, I'll get into that later, but, that's moving forward. So.
Kelly, does that go with, I know they had talked about the lift station as well, but is that grant that we're getting approved for, is that only for the water towers? That's not for the lift station?
The EPA that we have is $450,000. That's for the water tower itself. Now, as I've tried to keep the committee informed, there's several grants out there that we're continuing to pursue. Actually, I have 2 meetings next week to continue that process. We're going after different monies. The one that you submitted to me not too long ago, there's 2 projects we've identified that are shovel ready. Again, I don't see the need to spend the money. We lost about $7,000 worth of water. The telemetry is going to be for both towers.
Will that cover the pressure relief valves?
Yes, there'll be altitude valves on both and telemetry on both. So.
All right. Any other discussion? Page 6, you will find your emergency services meeting minutes from February 29th.
One quick thing, Kelly, on the back page of that, it's just a typo, but on the back page of that emergency service meeting, council member Kelly Jones, that should say Kelly Campbell. I assume, right?
Yes. Page 6.
That's the
Right
emergency
under-
service meeting.
Yeah, page 6, right under general.
Oh, I see it. You see that, Brian? This council member, Kelly Jones. It should be Administrator Kelly Jones.
No, it should be
Oh, Kelly Campbell, sorry.
Because he was elected chair of that committee.
All right.
Be Kelly's.
All right, fantastic. And then flipping over to page 7, your human resource meeting minutes there from February 29th. Again, if anyone wants to discuss anything on it, you're more than welcome to. If not, on the back side of that, on page 8, is your community development meeting minutes from March 7th.
Yeah, that's wrong too, isn't it? On the human resource, there's a change there. too.
Yeah, I see it. The council member Cornett,
Yeah. Wrong name, wrong title.
right? Councilmember Cornett called the meeting
That should be mayor, actually.
and Bullington.
Come on now. You're getting picky.
It's either too many Kellys and they're changing their name.
Yeah.
I know, you're killing me.
All right. Thank you for catching that. All right, page 8. You have your CDC meeting minutes from March 7th.
Whose name is wrong on this one?
All right, if no discussion, we can move.
I was just gonna say briefly,
Sure.
the Courthouse Square Association was here, I discussed getting that ordinance done about making sure, and the mayor was present for that. And I think she and I and the committee as a whole agreed that
we want to make sure that that's followed, but also not in a punitive manner, giving people time, working with them, making sure that they are adhering to that, giving them some options and some things along those lines. So that's still in the works. The other thing was a special events permit. And actually, the administrator, Kelly Jones, had brought some things to our attention because there were some things that needed to be finished up in that for application fees, for insurance and some other things. So that's still being somewhat worked out. We think we got some headway on that, but that way that we give people enough time to get these things in, because it is a comprehensive application process. We want to make sure that we're giving people that time, but also giving them the help that they need and bringing them before the CDC committee if they want to put on an event, if they are not somebody who's done an event before or it's a new event, so they can inform them of that. So we're continuing to work on that as well. That was all.
Any questions for the group there?
Is there any time frame in that specified as far as how far out you need to be getting those kind of permits together prior to an event or
I
activity?
think it was at least 90 days.
30 days.
30 days.
30 days.
Has to be submitted to me within 30 days, and then I present it to the committee for approval.
I think the big hangup was making sure, and actually Amber was the guinea pig for this, unfortunately, was she has an event coming up, but to her credit, didn't want to pay for insurance if she wasn't going to get approved. So making sure that, if she got approved, it's a fairly quick process. We found out to get the insurance for stuff like that.
I do have a question on that. Like last year, we did the event on the square for the skate. The supplier of all of the amusement provided insurance through that, and there was waivers. How does that work in that kind of scenario? Because obviously people being on the square, we don't insure them when I run my business and people walk in and off the square and out of their car and leave. So
It would actually go back to committees for their discussion, but I think if they're insured, as long as they got a copy of that and attached it to the application, I'm assuming you're going to do it again. You had a pretty good turnout. Get the insurance from that person and attach it. I don't know, again, it would be up to the committee to determine if they need any other type of liability, or Joe might answer that.
Yeah, I would also point out on your event, Mike, I remember it, the ordinance wasn't in effect yet. It had been passed, but not in effect.
Correct.
But going forward, yeah, if they've got the insurance and they name the village, that covers us.
everybody had to even sign forms that was a part of any of that.
Did they sign forms for the bouncy house too, or just the skating?
No, they didn't.
So
The
that's a
bouncy,
separate-
So I guess maybe we would have to do something okay.
Yeah, we can look at it. I would get with Kelly. We can go through the checklist, but there are ways to do it. That's a very creative way if the ride vendor has insurance.
Well, and I would just about bet, now I don't know this for certain, but I would think that the vending company through Ron's church would have some kind of insurance of liability that maybe we could piggyback on or
What
something.
we require is they really just need to name the village as an additional insured. So if they have insurance that's primary coverage, they name us. That's really all we're looking for. I know like the CIC, the Courthouse Square Association, they have independent policies. Some groups are smaller and they have to go find a policy, and that's more cumbersome. But what you're talking about, I think we could look at it, but that might work.
I just don't want to try to make it so outrageous that
Right.
it perturbs people from having them activities on the square because of so much red tape and fees. And I know it costs to do the administrative part too, but I'd hate to see us lose out on activities for the kids in the community because of,
The other thing we talked about, Mike, too, to your point, is that if there is an event, let's say it's going to happen 3 or 4 times in a year, to have one application and maybe an addendum to where if some things are going to change, so you're not reinventing the wheel and coming in here. Concert on the Square was an example we used, was just something like that, that a form could be submitted, but if the layout's going to be the same, there's no reason to keep going through the process over and over, as long as the insurance and that kind of stuff is present for the village. So,
Carol Myers did that.
yeah.
As you know,
The other night, she submitted 3 concert on the square. She same paperwork, just filled out a different application for the different day. And then she has another event with fireworks. That's a little more complicated. So we're waiting on paperwork on that.
Would this include parades as well?
Yes.
So we have three, right now we have about 3 parades a year at least that are pretty regular, so. And that should be something, I know it's hard for a lot of people to catch these meetings or they don't catch them. So I don't know if we could put that on our village face page that, things like that so that people can be informed that there's 30 days because, sometimes like these people that organize the parades for the graduates, I'm not certain that some of them people are that informed that come up with that ideal. And then it'd be a shame that we would tell them, no, you can't have a parade for graduation if they were.
Well, that was the meeting, reason for the meeting the other night, try to get everybody on the same page. It's new for everybody, including us. And I tried to reach out to as many groups that have been doing things, but I'm sitting here today thinking the biggest parade we have is the county fair.
Yeah.
And so my plan is try to get a hold of someone at the fair board, or if you know somebody that could reach out, trying to get the application in front of those groups to keep it moving.
It might help if you were to put, to Mike's point, a link on the Facebook page or on the website that they can just go right to the ordinance. Because the ordinance actually contains all the requirements. So, and there's a checklist at the end. Maybe that would help.
I'll mark that down.
Yeah. I'm not sure who's managing the website right now, but that would help.
We have the person.
Okay. Good.
All right. Any other discussion? If not, moving on, page 9. Last month, if you remember, we reviewed the budget as a whole, and we had one more meeting that we could either approve it last month or approve it this month. So we chose to, or this week, we chose to push it ahead as a council. So tonight we do need to review this budget and potentially get this approved. Any
I
questions?
sat in there and held them up, so I'm going to feel obligated to make a motion to approve that.
Okay. And last month, if you remember, we got the big packet with the budget.
Yes.
That's the budget itself. Hopefully, everybody had time to review that since receiving that. So Mike, was that a formal motion?
Yes.
So Mike has made the formal motion to approve the budget with Kelly Campbell seconding that motion. Huh? Where's the title? Kelly, can you read that title?
Sure. An annual appropriation ordinance for the village of Georgetown.
Fantastic. So Mike made the motion. Kelly did second that motion. Brian, roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Mays,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Balky,
Yes.
And that is ordinance number
1365.
1365, guys. All right, thank you. Moving along, page 11 is the ordinance that came out of the CDC committee, I believe, the nuisance animals ordinance. So that is again on page 11. Kelly, will you first read this by title?
Ordinance to establish procedures and regulate the trapping of nuisance raccoons, and groundhogs in the village of Georgetown, Ohio.
We have some discussion real quick on that. I was reading that in section 1. So if you can lawfully trap an animal on your property, am I understanding that right? Even without a license? Or do you have to be licensed?
Yes, please, sorry.
So the ordinance, I'll address your question, but I'll also explain the ordinance. This tracks the ORC. So the Ohio Revised Code, the Ohio Administrative Code lays out in great detail what you can and you can't do. This relates, if you look at it, to, yes, it is lawful for someone to do that, but in order to have somebody else come onto your property, then they have to follow various regulations. That's correct. The only thing you can't do is discharge a firearm on your property in the village. And if you put that aside, which I know that if you're like me, I've wanted to go after raccoons before with a firearm, you can't. But I can tell you they push the limits.
All right. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to adopt.
Oh, no, this is the
No,
first reading.
oh, sorry. All right, no motion. Sorry, guys, it's the first reading.
We might want to also point out, Councilmember Garbett was really into getting that moved forward today because he's the one that reached out to me about it. And So if you do have questions about it, I know he's going to be at the next meeting when you actually vote.
Okay.
So.
Fantastic.
So it only needs read twice.
Yeah, so next meeting we'll read it again and then it can be enacted. All right, page 16. This is the lease between the village and Pleasant Township. Kelly, I know you were working on this a lot with them specifically. Do you want to kind of just give us a little highlight here?
Let me read over this and see which one this one is. The storage structure. All right. So the village, the Pleasant Township trustees was hoping the building would be torn down at the beginning of the year. And it has been taking longer than they had thought. So they have done some figuring. There's a small building out there by Rumpke, in front of Rumpke, beside the old car lot. And they store some of their equipment there. It's pretty much a backhoe and a tractor or something. So they bought some brand new equipment last year, a new truck, a new plow truck. They have about $300,000 of equipment sitting outside. So they kind of bounced some ideas around and they had found that they can get a 30 by 30 structure, almost like a carport with roll-up doors and everything. So it's temporary. And then they are going to put it out there in the grassy area up in the corner away from everything. And then we're going to allow them to full use of to get in and out. That way they can store their stuff. And then once the building's torn down, they agreed they're going to work with these guys and wait until the water department building's finished and then they can move everything out. So it's kind of like it's been a long process, but that's all this is. So this is to allow them to put a building up because technically it's village property. So that's how this reads.
How long will this lease for $1 a month be?
Is it April 1st?
That's when it'll start.
It'll kick in. I think what your real question might be is when do we expect the building to be torn down?
And sold.
And so we can close under our contract the minute the building is removed. Kelly, you can speak to this, but I know we both talked with the representatives from the land bank. My understanding is they'll start authorizing these destructions April 1st, but we don't know where we are on the list. Isn't that accurate?
That's my understanding, yes.
Is that just in Brown County that they're authorizing?
Well, they're doing it statewide, but Brown County will start April 1. It could be April 1, it could be May 1. It's going to be sometime in that time frame, and then obviously weather cooperating.
Correct. So the hope was it was going to be a short term.
Right. But does that call that out in that? I was looking up leasee and all that to verify that I was thinking.
No, it reads that it can be terminated by either party. It does not have a final date.
45 days notice.
Yeah.
All right, any additional questions? Is this a first reading or?
No, we can go.
Okay. So if no additional questions, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Andy has made the motion to approve this resolution. Mike has seconded that motion. Brian, roll call vote.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fletcher. Mays. Yes. Barnhart,
Yes.
Bucky,
Yes.
1371.
I need to read it.
Yes, go ahead and read it.
All right. Resolution authorizing the interim administrator to enter into a lease agreement with the Board of Trustees of Pleasant Township, Ohio. You're welcome.
Motion passes. Resolution 1371.
Correct.
And then we also have an addition to the agenda. It's in front of you. It's the stapled paper. It's this one right here, the two or 3 page document. I think it's 3 pages. Kelly, can you read that by title?
Resolution authorizing the administrator to enter into an agreement for the purchase of a generator from Quad County Service and Repair.
So this is a generator for the fire department. It's been one that's been needed for quite some time to cover in the event that we have no electric within the village. Joey, if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, actually, I didn't mention it, but Pleasant Township is wanting to partner with this. They have some money in their fire fund, if you will, that's kind of accumulated, and they wanted to put it to use. So they're going to cover $40,000 of the cost of this generator. So just a shade over half. So, the city will be the 38,000 and some change. So it's not quite as bad as we thought, but we did reach out to Duke because we wanted to go with natural gas, and the problem was going to be getting it to the building. I didn't really want them digging up our parking lot that we just paved. So they agreed that they'll come in and auger it, bore it, whatever it's called, to the building, hook everything up. And as long as we can coordinate the installation within 90 days, 60 or 90 days of them doing the work, then there will be no cost. They won't charge us for that. So
We're looking at 6-month
6-month
back order on
lead
the
time to get the
generators.
generator. Yeah.
And the balance of that will come out of the budget for Georgetown Fire EMS or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep in mind, when we started this, we were looking better than $100,000. So,
So it should run the entire firehouse. It'll just like nothing, the electric's not off. So,
Thank you. All right. If there are no additional questions, I will entertain a motion to approve. Mike has made the motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Amber. Let's see, Brian, roll call.
Campbell. Yes. Fletcher.
Yes.
Mays.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Baki.
Yes.
It is 1372.
Resolution 1372, motion passes.
Quick question.
Sure.
Kelly James, what was the resolution number when you first started? Was it 400?
No, it wasn't quite that bad. Actually, we pulled in, we've been researching some money we have in a fund that's been sitting there, and it went back 54 years. We're trying to figure out, went back to the building of the sewer plant back in 1970. I don't remember, but that's that'd be an interesting question.
All right, moving along on your agenda, page 19 is your fiscal officer report. And then page 20 is your listing of funds, your fund summary. Take a look at those. And then moving right along into page 21 is your payment listing. If there are any questions, we will try and get those answered. If not, we will have to follow up with you. Anyone see anything that stands out to them? If not, we will go on to page, I'm losing my page here. I believe it's 26. That's one right. 24, actually, 24. That's your payment register detail. This is the credit cards that are in the hands of some of the folks that work for the village. So these are expenses on those credit cards itemized out there for you. And then page 25 is how those expenses are grouped into the funds that they belong into. So again, take a look at that. And then moving right along, folks, we are on page 26. And that is the mayor's court report. Chief, any detail there for us?
Pretty much running pretty close to what it was last year at this time.
Okay. Page 27 is your actual report. Rob, would you like to share any information with that?
Yes, as you see, it's the normal statistics I give you guys every month. This first part is the types of calls that we went to. And this is going to be just February. There was 398 different types of calls that we handled. And then the page 29 and just 29. Those are the types of offense reports that we took, which most of those ended up with some type of a criminal charge along with them. There was 81 of those. And then I have a few things we need to talk about. So I hate to even discuss this but unfortunately this is the world we live in now. On February the 15th, our department performed a search warrant on a residence here in the village as part of an investigation concerning child pornography. Patrolman Chase Pendleton had been the leading investigator after receiving a tip
from ICAC, which is the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, who received flagged information from Microsoft concerning the downloading of child pornography. During the search warrant, a desktop computer along with several other electronic devices were seized. The Bureau of Criminal Investigations Computer Crimes Division are currently going through the devices for any possible additional content. The case is pending to be presented to grand jury. Patrolman Pelleton has also received an additional ICAC case, which he prepared a search warrant for, which we served this morning. Those devices are being reviewed to see if the report from ICAC holds any validity. And then, on February the 25th, Patrolman Johnson and Kyle Luther responded to North Apple Street near East North Street in reference to a male pedestrian who was possibly intoxicated, yelling and hitting cars as they passed. Upon arrival, the subject was argumentative, threatening to shoot the officers in the roadway and kill their families, and was very intoxicated. In order to put a stop to and get the male out of the roadway, officers took the male into custody. He resisted and threatened throughout the process. While he was being taken into custody. He was found to be a teenage juvenile. Deputy Johnson and State Troopers Fox responded to the scene as well to assist in controlling the male. While attempting to make contact with his parents and make arrangements to have the male taken to juvenile detention, he began to bang his head against the cage of the cruiser. He was transported to the jail to obtain a helmet to protect him from any head injuries. Upon arrival, it was found that he had managed to get out of his handcuffs as well. When officers attempted to re-handcuff him and place the helmet on him, he again began to fight with the officers. At this time, he was tased to regain control of him. He was transported to Claremont Mercy, where an officer remained with him. While at the hospital, he had to be restrained by hospital staff as well. His father arrived at the hospital several hours out and was released to his custody. And obviously, there are several pending charges on that young man in juvenile court as we speak. And then, if you guys remember last summer, we had quite a few what was called swatting, where we were getting these bogus calls of there was somebody possibly had murdered their family or they were holding people hostage, things like that. Then we would, respond out there with all of our resources and, surrounding the area, what have you, and just to find out that it was bogus. On the morning of February 28th, our department, along with the Sheriff's Department and the FBI, conducted a search warrant after a several-month investigation concerning swatting. After several swatting incidents throughout the country had been traced back to a residence here in Georgetown. Several electronic devices and a computer were seized during the search warrant, and the suspect was interviewed. Detectives from Detroit and Pennsylvania were also present to obtain information about the incidents that occurred in their jurisdictions. As the suspect is a juvenile, I cannot divulge their information, but we are currently working with the FBI and prosecutor's office for future charges. I would like to thank the FBI for their resources and manpower, along with the Sheriff's Department for their involvement. And then the last thing I had to talk about was the stolen vehicle, which I think Sean did a pretty good job of covering that, so I don't think we need to cover that again.
All right, any questions for Chief? All right, thank you. On page 30, you'll see a copy of the zoning report from Mike Click. And then some good news to share on page 31, right behind that. You will see a press release from the Port Authority where you will see that they are under contract with a parcel of land right in between, right by the Church of Christ off of Hamer Road. And that's under contract with the intention of them going through multiple funding sources and grant sources to ultimately build an industrial park back there. So some good stuff happening right there, and they're securing the funding right now to make that happen. So for those of you wanting to know where that money went that we gave to the Port Authority, they're putting it in action pretty quick here. So I think you're going to see a lot of good stuff happening there. Everybody familiar with that tract of land? Yes. All
Is that
right.
going to have a 68 access or is that just going to be Mount Or Pike?
Most likely not. That's going to be fairly hard to get. So most likely it's going to come in off of Hamer or somewhere off of Mount Or Pike. Yeah, because that land touches Hamer as well as touches Mount Or Pike on down as you get closer to the recycling center, I believe, somewhere in there. So that's all yet to be worked out, obviously, through an engineering study. But yeah, I don't see it coming in unless there's like a hospital that comes in there. It's going to be hard to get that access.
I believe 68 in that area is still limited access.
The Highway Patrol had a hard time getting it.
They patrol guys.
Part of the state.
State Patrol got it for safety reasons, but nobody else.
All right, so good news here, guys, and we're certainly going to share that on Facebook too as well. Okay, moving right along, we are up to item 8, which is our roundtable discussion. Let's go through that, and then we have an executive session as well tonight, guys, so keep that in mind. So, Mike, I'll start with you, roundtable.
The only thing I would like to ask is maybe in the future we consider looking back into Facebook, putting the meetings on there, letting people go back to being able to comment, shrewd or good. I think people in the community that pay for our time should be able to voice their opinion on issues. Other than that, that'll be it.
All right, Brooklyn?
Nothing.
Nothing? Kelly Campbell?
I have nothing.
All right, Amber?
I've had several people ask about the website. Do we have someone working on that, did you say?
Yes, everything that comes on the website, I give it to the men and women in the office, and they're in contact. If there's something in particular, send me an email so it doesn't get lost, honestly.
Will do.
That'd be as long as I have a paper trail, I'll remember it.
Okay, perfect.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Andy Bakke?
Just briefly, I know we've had a couple utility meetings. We've read through the structure point report a couple times. The one thing I would say to everybody sitting here is I know the administrator is aware of this, and I understand the mayor is too, but we really got to make sure that we're on top of that as much as we can, because there's a lot of things. I think we were looking at 5 to 10 years in realistic terms, but probably more 10 to 15 to fix everything, and then it'll be time to start again. So as we go through this, we really got to make sure that we keep our infrastructure at the forefront. I mean, if we're going to have an industrial park, for example, that end of town, we were a little short on being able to finish a water project out that way. So if we're going to get people to come here, that's something we've got to keep in front of us to make sure that we're always working towards that goal. That's all I have.
Chief Rocky, anything for the group here?
No, not tonight.
Okay, all right. All right, guys, that concludes roundtable. I'm sorry, Kelly Jones, anything for the group tonight?
The one thing I have copies, we're going to have another power outage, March the 24th, 10 o'clock. Duke Energy is going to be doing some work on their lines, and we have to shut down in order to do some switchover. That work's going to continue for a few weeks, so approximately April the 7th, there will be another temporary outage to get switched back over, and shouldn't be more than an hour
Is that in the same
each
place?
time. Pardon?
Is that in the same place?
Yes, yes. We will post this on Facebook, get it out there for the community. Jerry put together a map the last time with all the addresses that are affected. And another thing, I've been in negotiations with Rumpke on our new trash ordinance. That's a 3-year ordinance. We had 2 different meetings on it. We came to what we feel was pretty good agreement on it. Our customers over a 3-year period of time would be looking at about 76 cents increase for regular customers and 68 for seniors. And I'll be getting with Greg, make sure we just finalize this today. So we're trying to get some numbers together. I will get with Joe on the ordinance. It'll have to be passed by council. And I would recommend we pass the full amount on to our customer, just for the simple fact they haven't had an increase in 6 years. Our profit margin dropped about 60 cents per customer during that period of time. This would keep it at the same rate, our same profit margin at this time. It's not going to be a big increase. It's kind of we charge and make a little extra just to cover our expenses we have in computer software, ladies in the office, entering data and stuff. So it's not a big profit maker for us. It's just, we need to still cover our bills. So, and that's all I have.
Does that need read twice then, or can we just make a
Do it as
motion
an
to
emergency.
approve it?
It's 1st of April, so I would imagine
It'll be a resolution, actually.
be a
So that's one
resolution.
reading. Yeah, that's one reading.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, then that leads us down to an executive session. So we do need to go into executive session to discuss some things. So I would entertain a motion from someone reading that sentence there. It's on it's the back side of your agenda.
Move that pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22 G1, to consider the employment compensation of a public employee, we go into executive session.
Has made that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mike has seconded that motion. Brian, roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fletcher.
Yes.
Mays,
Yes.
Barnhart,
Yes.
Balky.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, so
Still alive.
we're still live, guys. Don't say anything. But that does, you're fine. Chief, guys, you guys are good. If you want to go ahead and go.